As I stood on the deck of the fisherman's traditional kaiki, the salty sea breeze whipped through my hair, and I watched the rugged Greek coastline unfold before me. The boat's pointed bow rose sharply from the water, its old wooden hull painted in vibrant hues of blue and white. Beside me, Bastian and Regina gazed out at the azure expanse, their faces etched with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. We were sailing south on our way to Crete's Elafonisi Peninsula, the only place in Crete that matched Hathaway's coordinates. To our right, we could see the Laconian Gulf, an inverted U-shaped gulf whose tips separate the Mediterranean and Aegean seas. The old sailor, his face weathered by years under the sun, leaned over, his eyes brimming with the wisdom of a lifetime spent on the waves.
You know,
Costas said, his weathered face crinkling into a smile,
the Laconian Gulf, with its shape like a horseshoe, has been a signpost for us sailors in these waters since time out of mind. The old folk, they used to call the tips of the Gulf the Pillars of Heracles, like they marked the edge of the world.
Bastian's eyebrows shot up, recognition dawning on his face.
Hold on,
He said, turning to Regina and me, his voice tinged with excitement.
didn't Plato mention something about the Pillars of Heracles when he was talking about Atlantis?
Regina nodded, her gaze distant as she recalled the passage.
For in front of the mouth which you Greeks call the Pillars of Heracles, there lay Atlantis.
I gasped, my heart skipping a beat as the pieces fell into place. And in front of the mouth of the Laconian Gulf lies...
Crete.
Bastian finished, his voice trembling with the weight of the realization.
Rosie, do you think...
I held up a hand, my mind racing with the implications. The FBI seemed quite worried about what we could reveal about Atlantis. Regina leaned in, her face alight with wonder.
You know, there's an old legend that says the heart of Atlantis was Thera, the island we now call Santorini. What if the Minoans were the ones who built that legendary civilization?
Costas nodded, his eyes squinting against the glare of the sun on the waves.
The whole of this place, with Santorini's caldera sitting there like a giant's bowl, it all changed when Thera blew its top and the sea came rushing in,
He said, his voice raspy from years of shouting over the wind.
Back then, it was a ring of islands with channels between them wide enough for ships to sail through to Thera's heart. And Crete, well, it was believed to be part of the outer ring.
Regina's eyes widened, a breath escaping her lips.
And now, much of it lies underwater, its brilliance lost beneath the volcanic ash.
The old stories, they talk about the Keftiu. That's what they called themselves, not Minoans.
Costas continued, his rough hands gesturing to the sea around us.
They lived on the 7 islands in this very stretch of water, islands sacred to Persephone herself.
He paused, taking a moment to let the weight of his words sink in.
The Keftiu were known to have befriended the great Egyptian queens, Queen Tai and Pharaoh Hatshepsut, both visionary leaders who sought to forge peaceful trade with foreign lands.
Bastian and I exchanged a meaningful glance at the mention of Persephone and female pharaohs. It seemed that every thread we had been following was slowly weaving together into a tapestry of truth. I stood by the helm. "We need to change course," I declared, my voice filled with unwavering resolve. "Set sail for Santorini." Regina stepped forward, her eyes gleaming with excitement.
Yes, to Akrotiri and the prehistoric Thera Museum in Fira, to be precise. If we're going to find the answers we seek, that's where we must begin our search.
Costas nodded in agreement.
We'll make a stop over at Milos for the night,
He said, his weathered hands already adjusting the ship's course.
It's a beautiful island, and it will give us a chance to rest and restock our supplies.
At dawn, as the boat charted a new path across the shimmering sea towards the Santorini caldera, I felt a thrill of anticipation running through my veins. The salty spray stung my cheeks and the sun beat down upon the deck, but I barely noticed the discomfort. My mind was racing with the possibilities of what we might uncover in the ruins of Akrotiri and the museum's ancient artifacts. Reaching for my phone, I hesitated, my finger hovering over the login screen. The temptation to use my credentials and check my messages to see what new challenges or threats awaited me was nearly overwhelming. The FBI's ominous warning and my editor's looming ultimatum hung like a dark cloud over my thoughts, a constant presence that I couldn't quite shake. But as I glanced at Bastian and Regina, their faces alight with the thrill of discovery, I made a choice. Whatever problems were brewing in the outside world, whatever consequences I might face, they could wait. For now, I needed to focus on the task at hand. With a deep breath, I slipped my phone back into my pocket, pushing aside my worries and doubts. The real world could wait. The truth couldn't.